Hi, how are you? Um, I asked Spirit what they wanted to speak about. I asked the cards, and it looks like Spirit wants to focus on advice for filling our creative cups and making progress in our creative passions, hobbies, careers, possibly. It depends. But yeah, first I want to hold space for us to pray, but I'm going to pray silently in my head so that whatever you need to ask Spirit or God or whatever you call the higher power that you believe in, you can have the space to ask that before I begin the reading. So let's pray. Okay. Obviously, if you have more to say, feel free to continue praying as I shuffle. But a message that had come through for me before I began filming was not exactly a warning, but just a reminder to be discerning about any offers that come to you, and be discerning in terms of knowing your worth. Like, just because you might get exposure from something or you're desperate doesn't mean that you have to take the first thing that comes your way, and doesn't mean that you have to take something from someone that you don't totally trust, or maybe you don't feel like you have enough information, but you have this mindset of beggars can't be choosers. See, I have the Eight of Wands in reverse and Page of Swords in reverse, and this was the Page of Swords was a card that came out for me earlier, and Spirit was talking about not making hasty decisions, right? And not making decisions out of fear and lack of planning and feeling like very new on the scene. Basically, it doesn't matter how much experience you have, especially if you're working with Spirit and your creative practice and your creative career is rooted in your faith, and you have that foundation of your faith. You don't have to worry about how long you've been doing something or your lack of exposure or popularity. You get to take only the best offers because that's what you deserve and that's what you came here to do. So that's just reminders from Spirit about knowing your worth and knowing the value of your creative work. And when you're tapped into your purpose, that's something that you've been training for lifetimes, and that's something that, like, you're supported on a higher level than someone who's in it for the money and the fame and the clout and the popularity. Like, this is about more than, recognition and that sort of thing, which that will come, but Spirit is saying, remember, there's a higher purpose to all of this, right? And you're representing me, which is to say your higher self, your soul. You're meant to be demonstrating God and love in everything that you do. And so remember that every time that you sit down to sign a contract, every time that you are contemplating an email you got, just remember God, love, Spirit, my higher purpose. That's at the foundation of everything we do. So first I'm seeing the Queen of Pentacles and the Fool. And because this Queen of Pentacles card is so heavily associated for me with a spirit guide, an ancestor of mine, I'm thinking of these two cards together as, again, Spirit saying that you have support from the higher realms, you have support from God, and so you may be taking a leap of faith in whatever it is you're doing, but you're not naive because you are able to tap into the wisdom of the ancestors, of God, of these energies of the highest love and light. And so there's no need to be afraid, and there's no need to feel like you're too inexperienced to do whatever you're doing. And Seven of Swords, this was the card that let me know that Spirit was giving a bit of a warning about discernment, right? And so this is just co-signing on that in case you were wondering. And this is reminding me, like, Spirit bringing out this card to co-sign and, you know, to validate the messages I was giving. That's what I see the cards as being for. They're there to aid us in our communication with Spirit. And so if you ever feel doubtful about predictions that you get from the cards or anything like that, just remember these are just here for insight. And so anything that if they're ever making you feel doubtful or worried, like if they're fueling anxiety for you, put the cards aside, turn off whatever reading you're watching, even if that's this reading. I don't care. Spirit is saying that what comes first is your communication with them, with whatever, you know, faith system that you ascribe to. That's what comes first, not the cards. But you know, the cards are there if you're having trouble discerning. Like, so for instance, I get claircognizant downloads, and so they come through almost like my own thoughts, but they have a different tone, and Spirit has different ways of letting me know that this is from them, or my spirit guides have different, you know, symbols, song lyrics, different things like that. And so, but sometimes if my head is really cloudy and I'm really anxious, then I have a hard time hearing those messages, right? And I have a hard time making decisions. And so Spirit is saying if there are any practices that you use, including tarot, that are actually, like, it can depend moment to moment as well. Like sometimes they can help, sometimes they can hinder. Sorry for the dogs barking. Yeah, if there's a lot of noise distracting you, if, you know, the internet can be noise. Whatever you're watching on the internet can serve as like something that muddles your ability to make decisions for your highest good. And so Spirit wants to remind you that what comes first is listening to your own heart, especially when it comes to your creative passions. We have the Four of Cups in reverse. And I'm hearing that, like, you're doing a good job of this. You're doing a good job of heeding the advice from Spirit first and foremost, and trusting your own heart and your own intuition, your feelings, whatever you're, you know, if you get gut feelings, you know, bad feelings or butterflies letting you know that you're excited about something, continue to listen to those. Those are correct. Those are your compass. And then Three of Wands in reverse. So on this card, she's like facing a beach with a surfboard. And so in reverse, I'm getting that it's time to get in the water, right? So we've been spending a lot of time in meditation, contemplation, prayer, planning, and trying to understand exactly what we're about to do before we do it. And Spirit's like, okay, now it's time to stop just looking at the water. It's time to get in and to start surfing. And it might be scary. You might be a little bit worried about, like, if the weather is going to take a turn or if the waves are too choppy. But Spirit's like, that's the point of a leap of faith. You jump in and you see what happens. All right, so that's the message. I hope you got something valuable out of that.